Joe Biden almost made a decent point here in response to the scandal involving his son and Ukraine and Trump digging for dirt. So let's take a look and then I'll break that down.
The attorney says that he would readily comply with any and all guidelines or standards a President Biden may issue. Can you offer a little bit more detail about what kind of ethical guidelines you would set up? And would they, in retrospect, have prevented your son from taking the kind of board positions he was on in the first place?
I will tell you what I'm going to do. Not what was done, what I'm going to do. No one in my family will have an office in the White House, will sit in meetings as if they're a cabinet member, will in fact have any business relationship with anyone that relates to a foreign corporation or a foreign country. Period. Period. End of story. And what I'm not going to let you all do is take the focus off the problem. No one has asserted my son did a single thing wrong. No one has asserted that I have done anything wrong except a lying president. That's the only thing. That's the focus.
No, that's wrong. Many people are asserting Hunter did something wrong. Many people are asserting you did something wrong, myself included. And what I'm basing it off of is not Trump. What I'm basing it off of is that Politico article from, I think, 2017 or 2015. I don't remember which. I think there were two separate ones, actually. One was Politico and one was not. But bottom line is, Biden Inc. was the name of it, and it lays out very clearly how basically Biden's entire family profited off of his public profile. And, you know, the Hunter thing is just one example with the Ukrainian natural gas firm that he was getting $50,000 a month from. But as I've explained on this show, there's also instances of one of them becoming a lobbyist and then the issues that they're lobbying overlapping with Joe's committee assignments. Another one was on defense contractors and the military-industrial complex at the same time that Biden was overseeing the occupation of Iraq. So there's all types of bad stuff there. So that last part of his where he's like, nobody's even saying we did anything wrong. You sound like Trump when you say stuff like that. I've done nothing wrong, not even close. It was the most beautiful phone call you've ever heard. It was the perfect phone call, really. It was the perfect... I can't get over the perfect phone call thing. But he kind of sounds like Trump when he does that. Pretending nobody's saying you did anything wrong. Of course they are. And I'm one of them. And many people are. What are you talking about? Of course people are saying that. But the point that wasn't bad was, like, he's almost there, man. Joe, you're so close, but you're so far. Is when he says at the beginning, like, I guarantee you in my White House, I won't have family members sitting in on meetings as if they're cabinet members. Like, you're so close, but you're still so far. So, if I'm Joe Biden, and I don't know why I'm giving Joe Biden advice, I shouldn't be, because I don't like him, and I really hope he's not the nominee, but if I'm Joe Biden, first of all, don't say anything about Hunter at all. Like, whenever somebody brings up Hunter, be Hunter? We talking about hunting? I don't even know nothing about hunting. I'm a fisher. I like fishing. I don't know nothing about hunting. We talking about Hunter. You'd be like, who? I don't even know what you're talking about. Who are you talking about? So I wouldn't say anything about Hunter. I'd put Hunter completely aside, because what he's doing is he keeps being defensive and he looks guilty. Now, if you'll notice what Trump does, and this works better, is he always just goes on the offense. So if I'm Joe Biden, first of all, I say nothing about Hunter at all. But then the other thing I do is, you got to go more on the offense against Trump. He did it subtly there with like I won't have my family members in the White House as if they're cabinet members. You're close, man. But what you have to do is be like, Jared and Ivanka made $82 million in 1 year with Donald Trump as president, including from foreign nations. $82 million in 1 year. You want to talk about pay-to-play corruption? That's what we're talking about. That's the problem. $82 million in 1 year. Are you kidding me? If he was really serious, he could bring up, Donald Trump's taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from Saudi Arabia at his D.C. hotel and then approving weapons deals as they commit a genocide in Yemen, and then vetoing an attempt from Congress to say, whoa, the genocide thing is bad, let's not arm them. So you want to talk about corruption? How about corruption that leads to a genocide. This is how you go on the offense. By the way, there are plenty of other examples. I always bring up the Saudi Arabia example because I think it's the clearest, but there are plenty of other examples. Jared Kushner taking millions of dollars from an Israeli bank, and then lo and behold, the Trump administration turns around and says, Jerusalem's all yours. No problem. Like, these are all deeply corrupt. These are all clear violations of the Emoluments Clause. And there's probably examples that, I don't even know the details of. I know Taiwan was one of them, how Taiwan was talking about getting a Trump hotel there or something, and Donald called them, and China was mad because technically there's still the one China policy, and like China says they're part of them, and like there's all this stuff going on, all this fishy stuff going on with his business dealings and his kids, and like instead of laying out, hey man, you're the most corrupt person maybe ever in that office, He's like, no, nobody said anything about Hunter. I wouldn't have anybody in the White House who's my family member or something. Oh, you're so weak. Feeble Joe Biden. You're so feeble. Under minimal Trump pressure, he collapses. He folds like a lawn chair. We covered the story the other day. He's sending strongly worded letters to the media, basically begging them to not cover Hunter. Okay, even if he thinks he's innocent, which I don't think he does, but even if he thinks he did nothing wrong, he and his family, you managed to do the one thing that makes you look the most guilty of anybody ever. Like, you look more guilty than Trump when you do that shit. Sending a letter. Please don't talk about this. What? And by the way, also wholly inappropriate. You're running to be president of the United States. You think you could just dictate to the media what they can and cannot cover, what they should and shouldn't cover? Get out of here, man. So he's close. He's close to making the point when he brings up, oh, none of my kids will be in the White House. But also, by the way, when he was VP, none of his kids were in the White House, but he did have his family members getting paid, not just from lobbyists here and corporations here, but foreign corporations. And that's the problem with Hunter. Ukraine, China, same thing. By the way, he just stepped down from a Chinese company board. Why? Because it's obvious that it's not, like, that is obvious pay to play. You think they're paying Hunter because Hunter's really like, oh, he's a genius on whatever this topic is. No, they want access to Joe. Of course, everybody knows that. How dumb do you have to be to deny that? But it's interesting because it's really something else, man. Donald Trump's blitzkrieg strategy just works. It just works because he's been relentlessly going after Joe Biden, Hunter, Ukraine, this, that, corruption, blah, 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 releasing ads and whatnot. And what does Biden do? Quietly tells Hunter, you got to step down from that Chinese board, dog. And so Hunter steps down. Like, now it's a good thing because he should have never been on that board in the first place. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it's a good thing. But you just proved his point. Like, his point was that's corruption, and you were like, can you please step down because this is corruption? Guys, he's the weakest candidate. He's just as weak as Hillary Clinton was. I'm sorry. She was so weak because of the Clinton Foundation and all that stuff. Biden, super weak. Super weak because of Biden Inc. and his family cashing in on his name. So, I just want you to know you have a choice. You don't have to go the Biden direction in the primary, because if you go the Biden direction in the primary, then it's a nail-biter election, and Biden can easily lose to Trump. It's possible. I think Trump's the favorite if it's Biden versus Trump. So don't vote for Biden because he is, hear me now, quote me later, the least electable.